Granny Grue. I'm a vegetarian zombie, which is kind of an interesting thing. I don't think there's too many vegetarian zombies around, but I eat brains. And let's see, the next question I said is, what is that on my shoulder? And this is Roscoe, and he's a whatsit. And if you come up afterwards and scratch his head, he'll give you a magic token of what that means. Then they say, well, how did you get Roscoe? And I say, well, that's sort of an interesting story. See, I was walking along minding my own business one day when all of a sudden I hear, help, help. And I'm wondering where the helping is coming from. And all of a sudden I realize that it's coming from the bog. Now, the bog is a place that's all kind of stinky and slimy, and it's got snakes and worms and all kinds of nasty creatures in it. And I don't want to go in the bog. I don't want to go in the bog, first of all, because it's nasty and creepy and slimy. But also, I don't want to go in the bog because that's where the bog crone lives. She's a witch. And I know a lot of witches, and they're really nice people, but she's not one of them. She does, however, make very good medicine. You do take spider stew every morning, right? You don't? Spider stew is a sovereign remedy that is a real medicine in my time, and it's a very, very, very special recipe. I got to tell you about this recipe. Okay. See? First of all, what you do is you go out into the garden and you take a pail full of snakes, and then you break them all up, and you put them in a sack, and you hang it up, and you let all the juices drop in a bowl. And then you add a whole bunch of ground up earthworms, and then you take spider webs, because spider webs are very good at catching disease. You need a couple of handfuls. And then you add in, let's see, you scour everything with salt, and then you put in some bayberries, bearswood, rosemary, sorrel, and rue. Don't forget the rue, whatever you do. And then you let the whole thing sit for 8 days, and you wipe off the green scum that falls on the front of it, and then it is ready to take. And what you do is you take a spoonful every morning to keep yourself healthy. And if you have any aches in your joint, you spread it on your joints and anoint them. It's real, honest to goodness, really, truly. So that's spider stew. So anyway, I'm hearing, help, 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 help. And I'm looking around in the bog, and there is the bog crone. And she is making spider stew. And in her hand is this little creature, and she's about to throw him in the pot. Well, I go up to her, I say, Babba Knobby Knees, bog crone, why are you going to throw him into the pot? And she says, well, I'm missing my regular ingredient, so I have to throw him in instead. And I said, well, what's your regular ingredient? And she says, mountain troll toenails, but I don't have any. And I said, well, why don't you have any mountain troll toenails? And she says, because the mountain troll lives way up there on top of the mountain, and my knees are cranky today. I said, all right, if I go up to the mountain and I get you those mountain troll toenails, will you please not throw the whatsis into the pot? She says, oh, all right, but hurry up or it'll go bad. So I went running all the way up to the top of the mountain, and there in front of the cave was the mountain troll, and he's clipping his toenails. And I went up to him and I said, oh, Mr. Mountain Troll, now listen, you've got to be very careful talking to mountain trolls, because if you're not, they're going to stomp on you like this. So I said, Mountain Troll, could I please have some of those toenails? And he said, well, what are you going to pay me for them? I said, I have to pay you for toenails? He says, the bog crone always pays me. And I said, well, what do you want for them? And he said, I think I'd like to have some ogre earwax. I said, ogre earwax. I said, okay, where am I going to find an ogre? He says, well, over on the next mountain, of course. That's where the ogres live. So I went all the way down the mountain, all the way up the next mountain. And sure enough, there's the ogre. He's gathering slugs for his lunch. Yum. And I said, Mr. Ogre, you've got to be very careful about ogres, you know. Otherwise, you've got to do that too. You don't want to do that with ogres. So I said, oh, Mr. Ogre, could I please have some earwax? And the ogre said, what you going to pay me for that? You're so mercenary up there in the mountain. And I said, well, what do you want? He says, well, let's see, I've got these lovely sea slugs for lunch. I'd like some eel slime to go on top of them. I said, eel slime. I said, where am I going to find eels? He said, down in the pond. I said, which pond? He said, down there at the bottom of the mountain is the pond. He said, okay. So I went all the way down the mountain again, and sure enough, there's a pond at the bottom of the mountain. and in it are eels. Now, I don't know if you know this about eels, but if you talk to them, just like cats, they'll do anything for you. So I went down there and I went, here eel, pretty, 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 pretty eel. Oh, what a pretty, 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 pretty eel. And an eel came swimming right over to me. And I said, oh, what a sweet little eel you are. Can I spit your little head? And she stuck her head up out of the water and I gave it to her. And then I said, oh, I bet your tummy's even prettier than your back. And of course the eel flipped right over and let me spit your little tummy. And when I was doing that, I got a whole handful of eel slime. So I said, okay, eel, thank you very much, bye. And she made a pouty face at me. I think she wanted me to take her home, but I don't have any place to keep an eel. So I went back all the way up the mountain to the ogre and I said, okay, here's your eel slime. And he said, well, put it on my slugs. So I put it on his slugs and he said, yum, gravy. And then I said, okay, can I have that earwax now? And he reached in his ear and got a great big gob of earwax out. And I got a skunk cabbage leaf and I carefully scooped it up and I wrapped it all up nice and neat. And I said, thank you, Mr. Ogre. And I went all the way back down the mountain again, all the way to the tipping top of the other mountain, where the mountain troll was waiting with his bag full of toenails. I said, Mr. Mountain Troll, I have your ogre earwax here. He says, oh, look at that. It's all wrapped up like sushi. Isn't that pretty? He said, you must be a gourmet cook. I said, yes, I've been on cooking with this start. So he said, okay, and he gave me the bag of toenail clippings. And I went running all the way down the mountain again. And here was the bog crone. And there was the pot full of spider stew. And there wasn't the whatsit. And I said, bog crone, where's the whatsit? She said, I cooked them. I said, no! She says, oh, I'm only kidding you. It was just taking you so long. And she took the whatsit out of her pocket and gave him to me. And I've had him ever since. And his name is Roscoe. And he's my friend. And that's the story of Roscoe. Now, I told you all that really just to tell you about the